Therefore we say that if you give the little finger to the devil, he takes the whole arm, and finally the whole body. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely, which is not necessarily inimical to companionship, for none is more sensitive to companionship than he is, and companionship thrives only when each individual remembers his individuality without identifying himself with others. Where love reigns, there is no will to power, and where the will to power is paramount, love is lacking. The one is the shadow of the other. Who adopts the standpoint of Eros finds his compensatory opposite in the will to power, and vice versa. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own soul. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. There is a mystical fool in me that proved to be stronger than all my science. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism. Often the hands will solve a mystery that the intellect has struggled with in vain. The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Great talents are the most lovely and often the most dangerous fruits on the tree of humanity. They hang upon the most slender twigs that are easily snapped off. A man who has not passed through the inferno of his passions has never overcome them. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves. There are moments when I wish I could roll back the clock and take all the sadness away, but I have the feeling that if I did, the joy would be gone as well. You see, I usually find myself among strangers. Because I drift here and there trying to forget the sad things that happen to me. I'm not crying because of you, you're not worth it. I'm crying because my delusion of who you were was shattered by the truth of who you are. I'm not crying because of you, you're not worth it. I'm crying because my delusion of who you were was shattered by the truth of who you are. If you gave someone your heart and they died, did they take it with them? Did you spend the rest of forever with a hole inside you that couldn't be filled? The worst feeling isn't being lonely, it's being forgotten by someone you never forget. Sometimes you got to hurt something to help something. Sometimes you have to blow under one thing in order for something else to grow. We must understand that sadness is an ocean, and sometimes we drown, while other days we are forced to swim. It is sadder to find the past again and find it inadequate to the present than it is to have it elude you and remain forever a harmonious conception of memory. Some people feel like they don't deserve love. They walk away quietly into empty spaces, trying to close the gaps of the past. Heavy hearts, like heavy clouds in the sky, are best relieved by the letting of a little water. It is sadder to find the past again and find it inadequate to the present than it is to have it elude you and remain forever a harmonious conception of memory. Being a successful person is not necessarily defined by what you have achieved, but by what you have overcome. Of all the words of mice and men, the saddest it might have been. Tears are words the mouth can't say, nor can the heart bear. Broken relationships are a source of heavy heartbreak that seem to affect every family. Nobody has ever measured, not even poets, how much the heart can hold. The worst feeling isn't being lonely, it's being forgotten by someone you'd never forget.